Hi, friends. I'm Becca Werwell, author of the Road Trip Rescue series of contemporary adventures for middle grade readers. And today I'm here to talk to you all about Kickstarter and specifically what it takes to fulfill a Kickstarter campaign. That means sending out the books and fulfilling the rewards that you promised during the campaign. So, this video might be particularly interesting to any authors who have also considered using Kickstarter for their own books. A little about Kickstarter. Kickstarter is a crowdfunding platform that creators can use to fund a project before they've actually produced it. So, in the case of a book, an author can put up their book on Kickstarter before they've actually printed it. They can set their goal for a specific amount, and then they can offer different rewards. So, common rewards for a book campaign on Kickstarter would be things like an ebook, a print book, a paperback, a hardback, maybe a special edition hardback. Those were all rewards offered during my campaign. So then backers can go in, readers can go in, and they can select which reward they'd like, and each of those are at a specific amount. And then that's put toward the goal. If the campaign funds, if it reaches that goal, everyone gets their rewards and the creator gets that money to help produce the rewards. If the campaign does not reach that funding goal, then no one's cards are charged and the creator does not have to fulfill those rewards. So it's an all or nothing campaign. It's a lot of fun to run. And it really is a great way for authors to pay for those costs that come with producing a book because there are a lot of costs involved. There's cover design, there are editing fees, and of course, the printing fees themselves are pricey. So, this can be a really great way for authors specifically to fund an initial print run. That's what I tend to use it for. Before we go further and talk about what it looks like to send off a whole bunch of books after a Kickstarter campaign, I want to tell you a few more specific details about my Kickstarter campaign for Road Trip Return, book two in the Road Trip Rescue series, which is my most recent Kickstarter campaign. It's the second Kickstarter campaign that I've run. My initial funding goal was $1,000. Now, this goal is lower than what I did hope to raise over the course of the campaign, and I intentionally set it low for a couple of reasons. So even though I know that my production costs are much higher than $1,000, I had already put thousands of dollars into editing and cover design, ISBNs, other things like that. I wanted to make sure that I hit my goal because I knew that regardless of however much money I got from Kickstarter, I still wanted to produce this book. I still planned to publish the book. So some of the money is better than none. If I had set a really high goal that did cover all of my expenses, including that initial print run, and if I didn't meet that goal, I wouldn't have got any of the money. So if a creator is putting a project on Kickstarter and they really need all those funds in order to actually produce the project, that's one thing. In my case, I was just hoping to get enough money to do that initial print run and to have a little bit to help me get started. So that was one reason I set it low. Another reason I set it low was for myself because I wanted to be able to hit that goal quickly in hopes that then I wouldn't feel as stressed throughout the rest of the campaign because I wouldn't be worried, are we going to hit that amount? Are we going to make it at all? And then also Kickstarter, you can sometimes get Kickstarter's attention if you hit your goal more quickly. So I was able to hit that initial funding goal in day one. The Road Trip Return Kickstarter campaign ran from April 16th to May 2nd, which was 16 days, and the total amount pledged was $3,663 with 92 backers. So 92 readers came to the platform and they pledged at different levels, whether that be the ebook, paperback, hardback, etc. We unlocked three stretch goals. So, a stretch goal, and not every project has this, but a creator on Kickstarter may choose to offer different rewards if they reach certain levels of funding beyond the initial goal. So, for example, at $2,000, once we reached that, I said I would add a discussion guide and recipes to the book. And then at $3,000, we added a bookmark. So, everyone who backed at a physical reward level and one of the books also got a bookmark. And then at $3,500, we added a devotional ebook. So everyone who backed at the ebook level or above also got a devotional ebook. The total number of books sold. Ebooks, I sold 104 ebooks through the Kickstarter campaign. 85 of those were Road Trip Return, book two, and 19 of those were book one, Road Trip Rescue. I sold 22 audiobooks of Road Trip Rescue, 71 paperbacks. 57 of those were book two, 14 were book one. 31 hardbacks, 29 of those were book two, two of those were book one, and seven special edition hardbacks. Five of those were book two, and two were book one. So the total number of physical copies sold, and I'm focusing on physical copies because that's the harder piece when it comes to fulfillment. The total number of physical copies sold was 109. One big question I've gotten: when was the book ready? Was the book already ready to go as I was running this Kickstarter campaign? Was I ready to send them out immediately after the campaign ended? I did have pretty quick delivery dates. I wanted to be able to deliver the digital rewards by June. That's what I was telling people, and the physical rewards by July. But I was hoping maybe I could even get them a little bit quicker. When the campaign was running, the book was in the proofreading stage. So my proofreader had the formatted PDF of Road Trip Return during the campaign. The campaign ended on May 2nd, and she sent me the final edits on May 10th. So after she sent me those final edits, I put the final touches on the manuscript. And the next week, May 16th, is when I received funds from the campaign. So those funds came into my bank account 2 weeks after the campaign ended. So it was that same week I was able to finish up editing, and I sent out the files for the book to the printer I use. I use a semi local printer in Pennsylvania. And I didn't mention this before, but I had already had the cover designed prior to the campaign. That's really important because when backers are looking at your page and deciding if they want to get excited about your project, they need to know what it looks like. So having that cover ahead of time is really important. Anyway, after I sent out the book to the printer, I finished the ebook and I sent out the digital rewards the next week on May 23rd. And then on June 3rd, my books were ready to pick up from the printer. So I drove about 2 hours, filled the back of my car with boxes of books, and brought them home. And throughout that week, I packaged and shipped them. And I will go into more details soon about what it took to ship all of those books. Next, I want to talk about digital reward fulfillment just for a little bit. So, digital rewards are the things like the ebooks, the audiobooks, and then the devotional ebooks, since we had hit that stretch goal on the campaign. I used a service called BookFunnel. It's a website that many authors use, and that's the service that I use to help deliver the ebooks and audiobooks for my campaign. And through BookFunnel, you can do something called bulk delivery. Basically, you put in all the email addresses for the backers who got the certain reward, and you can send it to them all at once. And then all those backers need to do is log into their BookFunnel account. So they can either download the BookFunnel app or they can go to my.bookfunnel.com. They log in using their email address, and then right from there, they can read their ebook or audiobook right in the browser, or they can download their rewards. So it's a really easy way for creators to do it. And the digital reward fulfillment ends up going pretty quickly through BookFunnel, in my experience. The physical reward fulfillment is the one I get asked about more often because it's a lot of books to package and ship yourself. Remember, looking back here, 109 physical copies sold. So that's a lot of books. And I do have books available for sale through my website, but usually I'm only shipping out one or two books at a time. And this is a big production. So I try to keep it pretty organized, but I do it myself. Some people choose to outsource it, and that can be a great option. But I actually really enjoy this process. So, the first thing I did for the physical reward fulfillment, before my books were even ready to pick up from the printer, I prepared a space in my basement. And I actually already have a space with, like, I have my boxes in there, I have a label printer, I have a scale that I can use to weigh packages. So, I have all of those materials, but I kind of cleaned it out. I got it nice and open and ready for boxes of books. And I started folding up some of the boxes that are flat so that I didn't have to do that later. They were ready to go. So once my books were ready for pickup, I went on a Tuesday actually to pick up the books from the printer in the afternoon. And it was really fun. I got to put the seats back in the back of my car so I'd have space for all the boxes. It's always a joy I couldn't even wait till I got out of the printer's parking lot. I opened up the boxes just to check, make sure everything was there. And I took the books home. I didn't have time that night to do much with the books till I got home. But then my next step, once I started working on it again, is I got out all of the books that I would need for the campaign. So I got out the right numbers that I'd need to fulfill the campaign, and I started signing them just with my generic signature. So for these books, I was signing "You Are Loved," and then I signed my name. And I knew a lot of these I would personalize as well for readers who had asked to have them personalized. But I didn't want to do that right away. I wanted to have the signature ready to go. So then as I was going through, I could quick add the name to the top and it would save me some time. And then I pulled out the books that I would deliver in person. So, for example, people who went to my church, I was able to take and put them in the church mailboxes, or my neighbor, I could deliver it, or people that I would see in the next month or so. I figured I could hand it to them in person as long as that was okay with them. So, for everyone who said that they were good with in person delivery, I pulled those books aside, got them personalized, got them organized. I have them sitting on a table downstairs labeled with the names so that I know where they should all go. And then I calculated weights for the different types of packages that I would be mailing. So I used my scale and I packed an example box of a paperback and a hardback and a paperback set and a hardback set to see what those packages would weigh. And after I did that, I could print shipping labels in batches. I use a website called Pirate Ship. And so I could upload the backer information, the addresses, and the names for each of the different formats. So all of the paperback names I printed out first. And then I put those labels on boxes. So I had my boxes that I used to pack the paperbacks. I put the names on the boxes, and then I packed the books. And the reason I put the labels on the boxes first was to make sure that I didn't mix up which names were going on the book, since this time I was personalizing books. For my first campaign, I didn't offer that option, but I found myself wishing that I had because, especially for kids' books, people like them to be signed to their kids. And that's a really special thing for a kid to have. So I did want to offer that option this time. So as I was packaging them, I would first write the name on the book, and then I would add in bookmarks. I added a bookmark that we did through this campaign, and then one of the special edition bookmarks from the last campaign. And then I also, even though we didn't reach the stretch goal, I ended up deciding to try out some stickers. So I included a sticker at each of the packages as well. So I put those in the books, and then I wrapped the book in tissue paper. I got some shades of orange and blue tissue paper to match the books, wrapped it up, put it in the box, and then if it was needed, depending on the package, I'd also add some extra packing paper just so it didn't shake around in the box and so that the book stayed in good condition. Then I taped it closed, and then I would move on to the next format. So after I did all the paperbacks, then I moved on to the hardbacks. I did have different boxes that I used for the hardbacks because they're a little bit bigger. And then I saved for last the packages that were a little different. If the backer had ordered extra copies of books. So a couple backers had ordered maybe a set plus a few extra paperbacks. And so I had to use bigger boxes and calculate separately what the shipping cost would be for that. After all of the boxes were packaged, I took them to the post office. So I put them in, I had three like bigger cardboard boxes that the books had come in. So then I put the boxes in the boxes, and I ended up with, I think I had 3 or 4 boxes of boxes, put them in the back of my car, took them to the post office, and they were already paid for. Luckily, no one else was waiting at the post office, so I wasn't taking someone else's time too much. But I dropped those off, and that was it. Through Pirate Ship, I could track to see that a lot of the books, if not all of the books at this point, should have arrived. So if you're watching this and you backed the campaign and you haven't received your book yet, please let me know, unless we've been in touch about in-person pickup options, or if you have not given me your address yet, in which case, please give me your address soon so I can send you your book. Well, that is, in just a few minutes, a little bit about what it took to fulfill my Kickstarter campaign. And this could also be helpful if you ever have to send out a large batch of books at the same time. Please feel free to reach out to me if you are planning to do a Kickstarter campaign or something similar and you have questions. I'd be happy to answer them. Happy reading, and since I'm guessing lots of authors are watching this as well, happy writing.